Hello and welcome to your weekly Angry Gamer update. This week featuring Bethesda, as is apparently now every week featuring Bethesda. Okay, just kidding. Hello everybody, my name is Cubits, and Bethesda, you need to stop this. Today, I was going to upload a mod compilation, but something specifically got in the way of that, and that was Bethesda. So instead, today I'm coming at you with some well-deserved criticism for Bethesda. Typically, I don't really like outrage videos, and I shy away from being too critical of games or game companies that aren't really within my limited sphere of channel relevance. But I am pretty annoyed by something that has been going on for a while in regards to Bethesda. However, I'm going to do my best to come at this from a reasonable and level-headed point of view because I just think that blind anger is pretty unproductive when it comes to addressing the sort of problems present here. That said, I'm still gonna give you an angry gamer intro. So, in a nutshell, Bethesda is breaking older mods even though you don't use their creation club, and it's absolutely hurting their core fan base. Over the last year or so, many of you have probably started to notice that a lot of your mods aren't working anymore. Because of the Creation Club, which is basically a microtransaction system for a single-player game released in 2011, Skyrim is regularly receiving updates. However, these updates do not improve Skyrim in any way, and despite these updates, Skyrim retains many of the bugs that it has had since launch. Bugs that are routinely fixed by modders. That's right. These updates are adding microtransactions to the Creation Club, which alter the executable file that Skyrim uses. Because of this, the script extender, a mod tool that is relied upon for many mods to be used by Skyrim, needs to be updated like every single month. It's irritating enough to have to reinstall SKSE every time the game is updated, but that isn't even where the problems here end. Some Skyrim mods that specifically rely on features related to the script extender also need to be updated. However, some of them aren't updated. And when some of them aren't updated, they stop working completely. Right. So Skyrim's microtransaction system is literally breaking mods that have existed for ages. Now you might say, why don't these modders just update their mods? Well, frankly, many of these modders have other things to do with their time, and very few of them make any money from improving Bethesda's game at all. So in other words, why should they? Why should they take time out of their day every single month for no money at all to fix something that already worked? And of course, because of this, many of them don't. And I don't blame them at all. But because of this, many mods are falling off of my mod list every single month. And it's really, really disappointing to see. Again, you might say, why not just use an older version of Skyrim? Which is of course something that you can do through a convoluted method on Steam. But that means that you cannot use mods that update themselves, or newer mods that rely on new versions of Skyrim or the script extender. Not only that, but if you happen to be someone who does use the Creation Club, I don't, but I've heard that some of the mods are quite well made and worth using, if kind of derivative sometimes. But okay, let's say that you do give Bethesda your money through the Creation Club and you download paid mods. Well, you'd certainly need the newest version of the game, which would mean that some of the mods you've used for possibly years no longer work now. In other words, Bethesda's not only hurting those of us that bought the game and don't use their microtransaction system, but they're also absolutely hurting those that do. Oh my god, 2019. Alright, so there's the general problem laid out. What do I think about this, and what should you think about this? Well, personally, if you can tell in my voice, I'm pretty annoyed. This is just further evidence that Bethesda is becoming more and more out of touch with their fan base, and their priorities have shifted entirely. Let's not mince words here. The main reason why Bethesda's games have been able to have so much longevity in their sales is because of mods. It's a big reason why they're able to sell them still at such a high price given their age. And even with their best title in the last decade, They want to squeeze as much money as possible out of people, regardless of the way it affects the people that do currently play the game. All of that said, I'm definitely not going to claim that mods are the reason why Skyrim is successful. I think it's a really good game in its own right. But what I mean here is that it's still able to be sold at a high price despite its age, and people still play it primarily because it does have mods. And I mean, come on guys, let's be serious here. I know that Skyrim probably doesn't make a ton of money for Bethesda, but you have to consider the fact that the next Elder Scrolls is going to be coming out, and if the first thing people think about when they think about the Elder Scrolls is blades, freaking yikes. I have to say freaking, by the way, otherwise I'm gonna get demonetized. On that note, I do have a Patreon if you'd like to support the Angry Gamer updates, which I guess is a series now. Don't think I'm gonna be doing that actually, though. That's not what it's gonna be called. Oh boy. For a while, I thought, well, it's really sad that the next Elder Scrolls might be online or just focused around excessive monetization, but at least I can play one of my favorite games ever, Skyrim, the way that I like to with mods for as long as I want to. However, at least partially, that isn't the case anymore. Hopefully, they stop releasing Creation Club microtransactions and the executable file stops being changed. Or they come to another solution that allows us to keep using the mods that we've been using for years. In the meantime, however, more than a couple excellent mods no longer work at all. What I want to make clear here, however, is that it's important to keep in mind that 99% of all the people that work for Bethesda have no control over the issues that I'm talking about. Basically, everyone there is just doing what they're told and trying their best to do what they've got to do to make a living. Please, if you ever get anything away from one of these videos that are critical of Bethesda, it should be that this has nothing to do with the vast majority of employees, and they are probably also suffering because the games are becoming less and less fun to design and more likely to fail, which would of course lead to something like pay cuts or layoffs. So please, I'll say it 100,000 times, don't be resentful towards the people that make these games. They probably have their dream job of making games. They're just being mismanaged and the priorities of the company have changed. The same can be said for the people that make mods for the Creation Club. They're finally being paid to practice their art. I think a lot of people can empathize with that. And no doubt, what they do is art. They're really talented, and they absolutely increase the value of Bethesda's games. There's nothing wrong with the fact that they gravitated towards something that would provide them with a little bit more income in exchange for their efforts. This is a structural problem. So, why does this stuff keep happening? Why did 76 end up being so garbage at launch, and why is Blades again just a microtransaction shop? Well, Bethesda didn't suddenly stop understanding how to make games. Bethesda's employees didn't suddenly start to lose all of their talent. The company has always tried to make money because that's what companies do. However, due to the current market structure in the games industry, the priorities that Bethesda had have changed. Making a good game doesn't matter nearly as much as being able to monetize every single thing in sight, even for games that were released almost a decade ago. At this point, I'd be shocked if the next Elder Scrolls didn't have some kind of nefarious microtransaction system implemented into it somewhere. And trust me guys, I hope to God that the next Elder Scrolls is actually excellent. There's no other game coming out I'd rather see succeed than this particular game. Skyrim is one of my favorite games of all time, and I love the way that Bethesda used to design their games. But the games industry has changed. The quality of a game is irrelevant, even if that said game was released in 2011 apparently. And I'll admit, I don't think this was a problem that was caused intentionally by Bethesda, because this is a problem that not only hurts people that like Skyrim, but it also hurts Bethesda. I mean, I have no idea when the next Elder Scrolls is coming out, but if you want Skyrim to continue to be sold and talked about, this isn't something that can keep going on for that much longer. Just look at the Skyrim channels that exist today. Outside of just general lore, they're almost all about mods. There's a reason why so many Skyrim channels blew up the way they did, and a reason why many people are still enthusiastic about Skyrim. You guys literally even put it in your awkward anniversary video. Come on, please fix this. All right, to end this video, I'd just like to say thank you so much, modders. You guys are incredible. So many of you still update your mods, even though the process of doing so is probably routinely super annoying. And for those of you who aren't probably going to update your mods anymore, I will remember them fondly, and you did an incredible job making this game that much better. Consider leaving a nice comment on the mod page of your favorite mod, because whoever made it probably cares more about your gaming experience than Bethesda does at this point. Ha ha ha. Oh man, it hurts. Sorry there wasn't a mod video today. I promise it's coming soon. But until then, you can check me out on Twitch. I'll be yelling about video games on there. Also, let me know if you guys like these serious-ish kind of videos. I'm thinking about making one that goes over more of why games are so bad recently in a pretty detailed way, giving you guys a lot of behind-the-scenes looks at the production process, and hopefully coming from a constructive perspective. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, so long as Bethesda doesn't update the freaking game. Alright, cool.